Hi, I'm Vanessa,
Hi, I'm Jacinta.
and we are Strange Colony Podcast, and you're tuning in to True Crime Story Time.
Yeah, you are.
You. I have started to brainstorm within myself things that we could put in there.
Oh, I like. We will have to pool our resources later.
Yes, we'll brainstorm together.
Yes. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yay! So how have you been this week? What have you been up to?
I actually ended up under the weather again. again.
Oh no.
I think it's just the weather changes are hitting me pretty hard and I kind of burnt out. Had the movie marathon went well. My lordy, is that a marathon? Um
Yeah.
and I've become obsessed with roasted cashews lately.
Oh my god,
Because
delish.
why not? Aside from that, I have been hyperfixating on making plans to renovate the front of my house. So I
Uh,
don't know what else is going on around anywhere right now. What about yourself?
I've caught up with my mum. We had a day at my son's school
Ooh.
where family members got to go in and catch up and then spend time in the classroom.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and we were there during my son's home ec class, so they made us this vegetable spaghetti thing. Oh my
Oh.
god. Yeah, they fed us. It was delish. Yes.
What did you eat? What did you get?
Yeah, it was a vegetable spaghetti, but they put bacon in it because, bacon makes everything better.
Is noms.
Is so noms. But yeah, it was adorable. It was a really good day.
Oh.
And I volunteered at a barbecue to fundraise for the flood relief.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at your altruistic self.
Yes. Problem was though, it was raining all day and between hay fever and being in the rain for the morning,
Mm.
the weather,
Oh
I'm
no.
not good. You probably
Oh,
can't see, but my eyes are watering and puffy, and it's a whole
no. You
thing.
still look gorgeous, darling.
Thank you.
So what have we got on the
uh,
cards today?
well, I thought since he's been pretty big in the media lately due to an inquest, I'd bring my own little take on Theo Hayez.
Ooh. See, I haven't been following this one, so.
Ah,
Mm.
unfortunately for him, his story happened during the pandemic, so he didn't get as much coverage as he should have.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Or just at the beginning of it, maybe? Or just before. So at the end of the day, he was overshadowed quite a fair bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Theo Hayez was a Belgian tourist, mere 18 years of age, who chose to have his gap year in our beautiful backyard.
Oh, he was a baby.
He was itty bitty Bobby, and he disappeared from Byron Bay on the 31st of May in 2019,
Ooh. Right.
like days before he was due to go back home too.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. And he was due to start an engineering degree. So he was a smart cookie. So he came to Australia in, I think it was November 2018, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And he's currently in the media due to the findings of an inquest into his disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
And we will touch more on that later down the track. So the last place he was seen was outside of Cheeky Monkey's bar, which is in Byron Bay.
I've got to go there now, just for the name.
And he was ejected from the bar.
Oh. Oh, okay. A bit too much of a cheeky monkey.
Actually, no.
No?
No. Well, there's there's a couple of differing stories and from what people saw, but that's open to interpretation. And before I really get into the story, Theo's been described as being a really responsible person. He would message friends and family every day. He's not a sort of person who is known to take risks.
Right, so not the kind of person who you'd think would be ejected from a bar.
No. And not the sort of person who would get themselves into any sort of untoward situation. Yeah. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
And on that last night, he was even organising his welcoming home party.
Oh.
So when Theo first came to Australia, he started out in Melbourne, which is where his godfather resides.
Oh, okay.
So he started out, had a connection here, caught up with family, and the plan was to backpack around the country.
Sounds amazing, straight up.
I know, right? If I didn't become a mum at the age that I did, my plan was actually to backpack Europe.
That would be amazing. Let's do it in our 50s.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Because by then, most of my kids will be grown too.
Yay! And he kept a video travel diary.
Oh, a total travel vlog. Oh, I'm here for it.
Yes, if you understand French, go for it. Because Belgium is a half French, half Dutch-speaking country.
Okay.
And they're from one of the French-speaking
parts.
Yes.
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 No, I don't know how to speak French, but yeah. If my mum can remember.
Fingers crossed. He enjoyed his time here in Australia. He loved the natural landscape and just, most backpackers who come here just like meeting people and all that. I think that's backpackers everywhere. You get to really dive into a culture.
Yeah.
So on the 29th of May, he arrived in Byron Bay. He stayed at the Wake Up Hostel, and he had met another Belgian backpacker there. And he and this Belgian backpacker that he'd made friends with other backpackers there, as you do.
Friends of friends of friends.
Exactly. Very communal living situation.
Yep.
And they decided to share some drinks together. And so they're just, having a few wines and chatting, getting along, all that sort of stuff. And they'd run out of drinks, and Theo and one of his companions went into Byron Bay to a bottle shop. Come to me in a minute. Yeah, here's me, ex-alcoholic, can't even remember bottle shop. Oh my god.
Hey, it's good. You're blocking it out of your memory.
This is true. And there's CCTV footage of him in the bottle shop with this other person. They're both fine. They're both, not being stupid, stable, no one's stumbling.
Yeah.
The cashier recalls that they could hold a conversation. They were just good company and good spirits.
Yeah.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Young people having a good time.
Yeah. Pretty standard for the area, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they go back to the hostel and they finish off the bottle of wine. He's maybe had 2 or 3 standard drinks at this point.
So barely even tipsy, really.
Exactly. Now, he also doesn't really drink very much, so you don't know how much it's actually hit him. But it is also over the course of a few hours, so...
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that
still
bad.
Fine.
Yeah. He was fine enough to walk into Byron Bay. Oh, did they walk or catch the bus? Now I can't remember.
Make their way into Byron Bay.
Yes. They did the thing. So the group headed into Byron Bay and they headed to the Cheeky Monkeys bar.
Again, have to go there just for the name.
And while they're in the bar, according to his companions, he only had another 1 or 2 beers.
Okay. So he's being sensible still.
Still being sensible, shouldn't be overly intoxicated.
Yeah.
And there's CCTV footage of him having a good time. He's dancing, possibly even dancing on the bar, but, so are other people.
Oh dear. That kind of bar, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's that kind of bar. And at around 11 p.m., bouncers asked him to leave, and they escorted him out of the bar.
Oh.
His friends and other patrons say that they're actually not sure why he was asked to leave, because he wasn't behaving inappropriately and he wasn't overly intoxicated.
Right.
And once outside the bar, security asked him to stand in a designated spot so that they could take his photo, and then they sent him on his way. I don't know what everybody else knows about this.
Thing where you leave the bar and yeah.
My workplace has a wall of shame. It's not actually a wall of shame. It's a book where it's photos of people that we've got off of our CCTV, people we're not allowed to let into the premises if we can, because they've been permanently banned for being inappropriate in our establishment. So it, to me, looks like that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But, if he wasn't intoxicated or I don't get why, but whatever, it happened. So, CCTV all up and down this road. There's footage of him. He's not being disagreeable whilst all of this is happening. He's just complying. He's doing as he's told. He's not stumbling. He's not... there's nothing to suggest, to back up why that they would eject him.
Right.
So then he walks up down the road and he Googles his hostel. So he can Google Maps that shit.
Yep.
And he's actually walking in the opposite direction.
Oh.
But he's sending messages and stuff, and then he turns, does a blocky, essentially.
Yeah.
So then he just walks up, the next street parallel and heads in the direction of his hostel.
Right. It's just wandering.
Yeah. But still heading towards his end destination.
Yeah, but yeah, just chilling, meandering.
Yes.
As far as we're aware.
And that CCTV was the last that was seen of him.
Oh.
The staff at his hostel did not report to anyone that anything was amiss until a few days later. I read one article that said 3 days, one article that said 5, but either way, somewhere around that time period.
Okay.
Which is odd.
I suppose they would probably have... backpackers aren't the type to stay still.
Yeah, they are somewhat transient people, but everything
I was thinking.
everything he had was in that room.
Right, yeah, that is weird.
Yes. But nothing was done about it until Theo didn't arrive back down in Melbourne, back down at his godfather's place.
Wow.
And his family reported him missing.
How long had he been gone by this stage?
This was June 6th, so we're 6 days in now.
Wow.
Yeah. So his mother, Vinciane, she hadn't heard, because I said earlier, he texted every day.
Yeah.
Kept in touch with everyone through WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Because that way, you can keep in touch with people from other countries, blah, blah, blah. Works really good when you're traveling. And so she was worried sick, and she was in contact with Theo's godfather, who I think is also his uncle. And he's just saying, he's probably having fun, he's probably just out of service, because we do have a lot of dead zones in our country.
We do have
and a lot of the nicest places to go see on foot are in those dead zones. Yeah.
Yep.
So he's just saying, he's probably just caught up in the moment, but she's
She
definitely
knew.
feeling like something's wrong.
She's
Yeah.
having a mama moment. She
Oh, yeah.
knew something was not right.
Yeah. So June 6th, he's reported missing.
Yeah.
But outside of what they had found, like tracing back through his footsteps, and after him leaving Cheeky Monkey's bar and not getting back to his hostel, they didn't know where to look outside of that.
Yeah.
So there's a big land and sea search because Byron Bay is a beautiful coastal town here.
Mm-hmm.
But they just, with the manpower and the resources that they had, they couldn't narrow down a specific area to look for him.
Yeah.
They didn't have access to enough data to be able to, sort of pinpoint any particular area. Yes. And Theo's family believe that Australian police just came to the very quick conclusion that he died of misadventure somewhere in the area.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's based off of what evidence?
Literally the fact that they couldn't find him.
Wow. That's a display of incompetence on a global scale.
Yes. Investigations also started in Belgium. Yep. They did what they could. Now, he was using the WhatsApp to keep in touch with everybody.
Mm.
It's all encrypted.
Oh, right.
Australian police were saying that they cannot access that without violating privacy laws.
Whose privacy are they protecting?
Well, they can't access his Google data because of privacy laws.
Wow. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of red tape, and obviously if they'd gone about it the wrong way, it would have made it impossible for future investigations as well, but wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being that mother being told, I'm sorry, we can't chase up any further because bureaucratic BS.
Yeah, all the red tape, like, so frustrating. So the land and sea search is still happening. There's a lot of volunteers that have come out from the area to help.
Yep.
And a group of volunteers actually found a hat that looked very much like the one that Theo was seen wearing that last night whilst he was out in Byron Bay.
Oh, okay. Like, how recent was that?
That was found a week or two in.
Yep.
And the DNA testing on the hair that was in there, it was blonde hair, the same as Theo's, was inconclusive.
Right.
And they couldn't actually get a viable DNA test from the sweatband.
Yeah.
And so the family made a public appeal for information. They had the godfather, the mother, even his father flew out. They were all there. And I saw clips of it and I will cry. Just that whole, I can definitely empathize with them, and seeing how upset and distraught and broken that they are.
Yeah.
And especially because at that point, this was literally all they could do.
Yeah.
So a few weeks after Theo's been reported missing, his mother gained access to his Google account. She had been trying to get into it.
Hitting every password she could think of.
Exactly.
Yep.
One article I said that there was a bank that breached certain privacy laws so that she could get enough details to do it, but I only read one article that said that, so I don't know how much.
It's a rumor. Didn't happen.
Yeah. No. And So she gets into his Google account
Yep.
and she was able to find essentially what is a digital trail of his last movements from that night. Because he had
So with the
location
blocky
services
and that.
on. Yeah,
Yep.
they had location services. So after this blocky,
Yep.
you can actually follow his last final few hours until the phone switches off.
Oh.
So, Google data. It showed that he had been heading back towards the hostel. Not in the
Yeah.
most direct route, but close enough.
Mm.
But when walking down that street, he stopped at some cricket nets that are at like the end of a sports field. And he stops there for approximately 7 minutes.
So he stopped because of somebody who's there.
Yes, this is a known area, a bit of a shady place. Sometimes it was described as being a tent city at night. Other times it was described as just being somewhere that people hung out and drank and smoked and did drugs at night. So
Right.
either way,
So he's wandered
that
in the wrong
kind of
part of the
area.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously he's speaking to someone. Like, there's no other reason to not that you could put for stopping there for 7 minutes.
No.
So after that, he changed direction. And he's now heading in the opposite direction to his hostel.
Oh.
It's debatable as to whether he was walking at a brisk pace or whether he was running.
Oh.
So, yeah.
But he headed back the way he came.
Not quite. So, the way he was headed was... I can't even think about it in terms of directions.
Don't worry about it. Not quite will suffice.
Yeah, not quite. But, so now he's headed towards Tello's Beach.
Okay.
I'll try and do what I can to actually insert the image of his, like, Google map thing into this video so everybody can see. That way I don't have to do the best at describing it, because I'm going to suck at that. And so he's heading towards this beach, and we're, nearly 11:30 at night here. It's dark. He cuts across the sports oval,
Yeah.
heads down a road, and then takes a path through a very overgrown area towards the beach.
Is this still
Now-
at the same pace?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. And this area that he enters through, though, is kind of like a path, but not a path.
Yeah.
But you'd only know about it if you were a local, apparently. And it's really overgrown, definitely difficult to pick at night.
Right.
And he heads through it, and you have to go like up a little bit and then back a little bit and then out onto the beach.
Right.
It's very difficult to navigate in the night time, so I don't know if he would have used like light from his phone or something like that. But if you were on your own, that's what you would do. You could also be potentially walking with someone who was a local leading you through.
Yep.
because they would be able to navigate that better. And this is the area that they had found his hat that he didn't stop to pick up.
Okay.
Once on the beach, they headed down the shoreline to Cozy's Corner and up towards Cape Byron. And there's a lighthouse up on Cape Byron and all that. And they walked around to the other side, and he's hung out there for a little bit before coming back down to Cozy's Corner.
Right.
Apparently the other side of Cape Byron is a known, they call it party spot, but I'm going to call it a rave just because, you know, let's be real, that's more than likely a rave.
Yeah.
And, I mean, also when you think about backpacking tourists and stuff like that, wouldn't you want to go do that?
Yes, absolutely.
As, like, one of your almost last send-offs? Like, that would be wild. What a great memory. But yeah, for whatever reason, he leaves that area and comes back around onto Cozy Corner. And he doesn't cross over Cape Byron because there's kind of like cliffs on either side. Like, it's very rocky.
Yeah.
He comes back the same way he left. Oh, went around.
Yeah.
That. And during all of this time, he's still sending messages to friends and family.
Right.
And he's showing no signs of being in distress. Like, he's just his normal self.
Right.
So he's not concerned for himself at this point.
Okay. Okay.
So he's not worried about anything. He's not asking for help. He's just looking towards and forward to his future, planning that coming home thing, and yeah.
Yeah.
All is normal. The last ping from his phone was still near the headlands of Cape Byron.
Yeah.
And local police are still going with he more than likely tried to climb Cape Byron, lost his phone, and got swept into the water. Personally, I don't buy it. I mean, it is likely. It is well, I wouldn't say likely, but it is a possibility. So,
the police still think it's misadventure or something along those lines.
Yeah. Local police are still leaning towards misadventure, like maybe he's climbed up the headlands, dropped his phone, got swept out into the ocean, things like that. But if he dropped his phone, like, why didn't they find it?
Yeah. How did it get turned off? Did it just break or?
There's actually a theory that the battery just died. Like, he'd been out all night. And
it just so happened to die as he's falling or something.
Yeah, well. So his phone data shows that at a certain point he turned off his location data.
Right.
So everything from then is going to be a lot less precise.
Yeah.
But his phone was still active. I don't know about you, but my battery lasts a little shit ton longer when my location data's turned off.
Absolutely. I mostly don't have it on for that reason.
Yes. So he was watching YouTube videos up until his phone just cuts out.
Is it morbid that I want to know what he was watching?
Not really.
No, you're curious too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't see it. Someone with such a big future going for them, so many good things, and just planning so much. Why would they?
I mean, not so much about the future bit, because, I mean, going into anything can be daunting, but why would they still be just chatting normally to people?
Yeah.
Most people hitting that point tend to isolate themselves.
Yeah.
And to have that be the running theory, that's a bit insulting. Like, there's no evidence towards it.
No. And his family, because of the whole he's not a big risk taker,
Yeah.
don't believe that he would have walked
Definitely.
that trail alone at night, and they don't think he would have climbed the headland alone either.
Well,
It is
walking
very
at that
rocky.
pace, would he have been able to do it alone?
Probably not. When I go to a new area, I'm definitely a lot slower.
Yeah. Especially a track that's not really a track.
Yeah.
At night.
Yeah. You know the ones I'm talking about, though? Like, they're just worn into the ground from overuse, but they're not actually a track.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a goat track.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with you. I definitely don't think unaliving.
No.
Based on the info. I definitely don't think he was alone.
No.
So the options here are misadventure or
foul
malicious
play.
Intent. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a thing from 60 Minutes. There's 2 episodes, but the most recent one, they had former investigator Gary Jubelin. He went through all of the evidence presented, and he agrees that the circumstances are suspicious.
Yeah.
He also still cannot rule out misadventure.
Well,
but
no, because without a body or a weapon.
Yes. And being a former investigator, he is trained to be logical and to not rule anything out.
Yeah.
Until there's evidence
towards it being a bit shaky.
Yeah. Yeah. And the things that really stood out to him were the 7 minutes at the cricket nets.
Yep.
The speed at which Theo had been walking.
Yep.
And the fact that Theo's direction drastically changed from what he had put into Google Maps from being at those cricket nets.
Yeah. It's almost like he stopped there, someone's hustled him back in the other direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I have a quote from him, and it's, "I choose my words carefully. The evidence that's presented that I have access to is suggestive of the fact that he was in the company of someone."
Yep. I'd agree. You know, my non-expert opinion coming from watching true crime shows.
Yes. But he's pretty well convinced that there is someone out there who knows what happened.
Well, yeah. Whether or not they're responsible for it, someone probably knows.
Yes. And the family have their own private investigator, Ken Gamble, and he continues to this day to work on behalf of the family.
Well, good.
To try and get them answers. In February this year, New South Wales Police posted a $500,000 reward for anyone who comes forward with significant information in regards to Theo's disappearance.
Yeah.
And between November 2021 and February this year, an inquest heard all the evidence that had been collected in regards to Theo's disappearance.
Yeah.
Police are still theorising that Theo tried to climb the headland, dropped his phone, and was swept out to sea. There is even a marine biologist, I think they are, who has said that the East Australia Current was further inland into the shore than it normally is. And because his body's never been found, that would be very easy to be swept out to sea and in a cycle that just goes up north.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it goes... it comes in like a cycle and it goes down a bit further south and then comes back around up north.
Right.
In this huge underwater current.
I know the one. They had it in Nemo.
Yes, they did.
But that would make it the ideal dumping ground for a body.
Yes, it would. And yeah, his family are still just like, it's not in his nature to do that.
Yeah.
So the inquest reconvenes in June.
Yeah.
So State Coroner Teresa O'Sullivan of New South Wales has delivered her findings on the 20th of October. So that's like just over a week ago. Theo has been declared dead by causes unknown.
Well, that's accurate.
True, very true. In her findings, the coroner has called for a comprehensive examination of both state and federal laws that have impeded the investigation.
Ooh, reform.
Ooh, we like that.
We do.
The hope is that removing these barriers could help missing persons investigations in the future.
Oh, absolutely. We have the technology now to trace these things. Why not use it?
Exactly. But I also would like to state that officers were unaware of an emergency disclosure request service that Google has, where they could have access to data in an investigation where someone could be in serious danger.
Oh, that is a severe oversight.
So it's not just the laws changing in general, it's also having officers more aware of what's available to them in terms of social media.
To be fair,
and the correct
changed.
Processes. Pardon?
Sorry, to be fair, the world has changed.
Oh, very true. Very true. So it's also, they need retraining in the procedures for accessing all of that.
Absolutely.
So
it's exposed a glaring need to update our knowledge and the system that we use.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's very unfortunate that it's happened this way, but I'm glad that that's actually come from it.
Yes. The theories that Theo staged his disappearance, because that went around too.
Of course, I was waiting for this.
There's always conspiracy theories.
Absolutely.
So that's been excluded, and so has the ending himself. That has been excluded as well.
Good.
But there's not enough evidence either way to sway in fate.
Accidental or foul play,
Yeah. But that's where the case stands right now. I did also see an article in the Courier Mail that they have reported that there may be a link between Theo Hayez and the death of a Bagara woman.
Oh.
But there's nothing else to report on that either.
Right.
So, yeah. But that's all I have on this one. Another untidy ending.
It's tidier than the last one.
That's true. But it's still open-ended because it's still what did happen. Yes. Yes.
I know one particular follower of ours who's going to be seething because they like their cases nicely tied up in a neat little bow.
I love you.
We do. Thank you so much for your continued support.
Yes. But I do like to provide like an open-ended thing. I like the whole, I wonder what. But in this one, for the family's sake, I do hope they get some answers.
Absolutely.
And they can find that closure for all those people that it has affected.
I think they've got at least some more answers than they did before. And I mean, the biggest killer is hope.
Yeah.
And as horrible as it is to say, if that hope is now crushed, that will give them room to actually start the process of grieving properly.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. So obviously our thoughts with the family.
Absolutely.
As always, the the victims that last. On that really morbid note, stay safe.
Stay sane.
Oh, we haven't done our socials. Let's screw back around.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll go from where that on that morbid note. If you want to get into contact with us,
You can find us on Instagram at Strange Colony 2.0.
mm-hmm.
On Twitter at Strange Colony.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Facebook. You can
Strange
find us.
Podcast.
That's the one. We also have Gmail. strangecolony@gmail.com.
Oh, I made a TikTok.
Yay!
I made a TikTok for us. I can't remember what it is. I'll get back to you in the next episode. We're getting the TikTok now.
Maybe one day we'll start linking these in the description box. I don't know.
Oh, gee, that sounds like an idea.
I think we might have at one point too. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Maybe like way back in the beginning.
Way too organised.
That is definitely way too organised for us, but it's an idea.
It's a lovely idea. We should do that. And
we should
create an intro. Lots of brainstorming and advancements to make in this little
growth
community that we're trying to create here. This little hobby of ours.
Yes.
Until next time.
Stay safe.
Stay sane.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Mwah.